Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here this morning. I want to make assignments for our next managed enrollment session, and want your input on what you will be teaching. I have taken a look at the CARES data, and will share that data with you, to help us determine what classes we should offer. I feel very fortunate that I have enough instructors, that we can divide students into more leveled classes, based on their assessment results. As you know, we will be meeting 2 nights a week for 3 hours. This session will last for 6 weeks. Well, let's get started. Sally, you have indicated a preference for teaching our lower-level students. So you will receive the folders of those students who have taken the CASAS Form 81. With a score of 200 and below, beginning ESL literacy, low beginning ESL, and high beginning ESL. There are 25 students across these levels. I have a plan for how to reduce that number for you, which I will tell you in just a minute. Brian, I have assigned you our mid-level students this session. They are the ones scoring 201 to 210 on the CASAS assessment. They are the low intermediate ESL students. Jennifer, you will take over the high intermediate level students, those students who have scored 211 to 220 on CASAS assessments. How does that sound to everyone? Okay, let's take a look at those mid-level students. Sally and Brian, as you can see from the CASAS scores, and from the CARES data, there are only 4 or 5 students working at that middle level. However, there are 25 students that the CARES data show are working at the beginning level. What I would like to do is take 8 to 10 of those students and assign them to you, Brian. That will leave Sally with 15 to 17 students. I know it means you will have to do some strategic planning to keep both groups going, Brian, but I wouldn't ask you to do it if I didn't think you could. What do you say?
I think I can manage it. I sure don't want Sally to have 25 beginning students if we can help it. I am willing to give it a try.
Thanks, Brian. When I look at the college and career readiness anchor standards, it looks like I will be working just from level A with my students. Is that correct?
That seems correct to me, Sally. I will be looking at the standards in level D.
I think we need to look at those levels.
Why, Brian? Do you see a problem?
Well, let's look at the CCRS. According to our grade equivalency levels, if Jennifer is going to be working with high intermediate students, it seems she should be using the standards in level C, and I should be working from the standards in level B. Of course, I will need to look at level A, for the high beginning students I have as well. Sally will be focusing on level A, as well as focusing on the lower level CASAS standards that are needed to build to CCRS. What do you all think of that?
I think you are right, Brian. Those are the levels where everyone should start, and we shouldn't forget that the standards are progressive. That means that you may have to go down a level, or perhaps up a level to meet the needs of some individual students in your class.
Yes, the progression of skills is an important consideration, even though it means you may have to differentiate your lesson plan to include instruction for individual students. If we think about the shifts in instruction that are necessary with the adoption of the standards, each of us needs to be building on skills from the previous diagnostic level and preparing students for the next diagnostic level. There are 10 anchor standards for reading. How do I determine where to start? Am I going to be responsible for teaching all of them, and all their level-specific standards in this session?
Remember that we have a means of identifying lead standards, as a way to help you determine what to teach. The Standards in Action, Lead Standards templates, are available at the KYAE site. The anchor standards for ELA are already filled in. You merely have to decide which are lead standards. When you review your students' CASAS reports, and compare them to the CCR anchor standards, you will have a starting place for your instruction. You will have to determine which of the anchor standards best meets the needs of your students, as shown by their CASAS diagnostic. If the majority of your students miss a question that addresses Competency 7.2.1, identify and paraphrase pertinent information. You might want to look at Reading Anchor Standard 5 and the A level, which requires the students to analyze the structure of texts. Is there another standard you think you might include here?
Let's see. I might be able to include a language or writing standard. It looks as if I could use a standard from Writing Anchor Standard 8. Also, it refers to gathering information while avoiding plagiarism.
Great, Sally. That is exactly what you should do. Then, you should determine which standards, based on the course's diagnostic report, you will have time to teach in this instructional session. You will create your unit plan, and then you will create your lesson plans.
I think we need to consider the NRS educational functioning level descriptors, English as a second language levels also. They will help us understand what skills students need to move to the next performance level. They are available for all the content areas.
That is a good idea, Jennifer. If you don't have a copy of the educational functioning level descriptors, you can find them on the Center for Applied Linguistics website. Here is the URL, if you need it. Once you have chosen your standards, you will need to unpack them.
I would like to meet with Sally and Jennifer. Since I will be teaching the middle level, it might be nice for me to know what skills Sally's students will be bringing to me. Jennifer might like to know what skills to expect from my students when they come to her. The progression of skills should help ensure that our students are prepared at each diagnostic learning level and will be ready for the college and career challenge.
Great idea. Let's meet tomorrow morning.